Hi, it's Tony Cavalier with this Thursday evening version of Weather Extra at WSAZ.com. After the afternoon shower and thunder clusters have moved on, they left behind a beautiful tropical sky on our Huntington Weather Cam sponsored by West Virginia Lottery. As I tape at 6:30, Pullman Square Thursday Night Concert Series is ongoing. And over at Ritter Park, it's a lemonade version of the Huntington Area Regional Theater's Heart in the Park's version of Prom. 7 o'clock was the starting time. It's a lemonade night. Free lemonade because of the rain and the thunder outs they had last weekend. Well, they've added a fourth performance on for this weekend. So you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the Thursday night version, which begins at 7 o'clock, free lemonade on the house, courtesy of the players at Heart in the Park. By the way, the all hazards map, severe thunderstorms up the I-95 corridor from Richmond, Washington, D.C., my hometown of Philadelphia, north to New York and Boston. That's where the severe thunderstorm watches are posted. Myrtle Beach, a shower, thunder shower, interrupting some outdoor plans heading into the weekend. But the weekend forecast is for plenty of sunshine. An onshore wind, temperature 90 at beachfront, but as high as 95 inland toward Conway and toward north and south of the border, with the surf temperature having hit 80 degrees and the UV index a perfect 10 this weekend. All the while, we're expanding the area of western fires and smoke and wind and drought conditions out from the Sierra Nevada, the Rocky Mountains, and up into the northern plains. So this is the area now that's going to be wanting for rain as drought conditions set in during the first of the summer. Summer beginning just after 10 o'clock on Friday evening. And note how the last full day of springtime has featured some afternoon shower and thunder showers that are now onto that famous I-95 corridor I was talking about, and left behind not a lot going on across America. The Southlands do have some showers where it's been humid all spring long, and that so-called brown ocean effect dominating down there, where temperatures are relatively below normal compared to areas to the north and west where drought conditions have set in, and higher than normal temperatures are expected in the plains heading into the weekend. That boomerang of rain will shrink as we get into the weekend, courtesy of this big high pressure, a high pressure that's going to force any rains for the next 5 to 7 days to stay to our north. Friday, we're in good shape, getting ready for a Live on the Levee on Friday evening, and of course the Friday night version of the West Virginia Coal Festival down in Boone County. Let's scroll ahead to Saturday. Lots of events going on, and we've got plenty of sunshine. The temperature could hit 90 for the first time this season. If it doesn't make it on Saturday, which I think it will, Sunday's a real good candidate with wall-to-wall sunshine. I want you to note something next week. As heat wave conditions build, we're going to have severe weather confined to the northern plains of the United States. In fact, these boomerang depictions on the Futurecast, the artificial intelligence from the European model, is telling me there are likely to be at least one, if not two, derechos that move across the northern United States as we get into next week. And that's courtesy of a big heat high that forces a so-called ring of fire around the intense heat. Showers and thunderstorms form, but next week are staying mainly to our north. Let's put the weather maps in motion as we can see. The daytime shower and thunder cluster with a passing cool front. 1 day of lower humidity and relatively comfortable temperatures. Then the slingshot or the boomerang heat wave will build from the Rockies, the plains, and can you see how the nose is pointed in our direction as we head into next week? And with that heat high established, we could have a totally dry week next week, although you can never rule out an afternoon shower or thunderstorm in the heat of afternoon. And we're talking mid and upper 90s next week. And that sets the stage around the ring of fire for the opportunity for severe weather to cling along and north of I-80 and I-90 up toward the Canadian-U.S. border. In this area, I suspect we'll be seeing one, if not two, derechos heading into next week. It's part of a weather pattern that now through July 1st, even though we have a one-day drop tomorrow as far as humidity is concerned, we've got haze, heat, and humidity right on through July 1st. In other words, all next week, which is the first full week of June, and into the following weekend, we've got heat wave conditions. Some of our computers are spitting out temperatures of 100 degrees, but as wet as the ground is, I think it's pie in the sky we get to 100 officially. Downtown could very well. But you know what? The trade-off is maybe it's not as blazing hot as it is tropically humid. And in fact, the 7-day forecast says just that. 80s on Friday with partly cloudy skies, low 90s over the weekend despite the wetness in the ground, and an increase in humidity. And then by next week, it's It's just a searing heat, mid and upper 90s, a sauna-like feel, and even steam bath feel with overnight lows only in the 70s. And right now, the forecast is for dry weather and that heat wave developing all of next week. Normally, you would only put one red banner day to alert you to the fact that a heat wave's coming in. But as intense as the heat and humidity will be, that combination next week will wear at us as far as our health is concerned. So if we post mid and upper 90s and the heat index is way over 100 degrees, then we've got to alert folks all next week to make sure their air conditioning units are in tip-top shape, to be planning on doing any strenuous outdoor activities early in the day or late in the evening away from the intense heat and the tropical humidity that is sure to bathe us as we head into the first full week of summer. Summer arriving just after 10:30 on Friday evening, and that 7-day forecast is chock full of summer weather. In fact, the heat wave next week will be reminiscent of the middle of summer. Could wind up being the longest and the most intense heat wave we see all summer long, with mid and upper 90s on the board all of next week. Thanks for watching Weather Extra here at WSAZ.com.